So say goodnight to the bad guy.
You looking at the bad guy. This the last time that you ever see a bad guy like me. You don't have the guts to be who you wanna be.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Honor Among Thieves. As always, your host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., author, director, producer, creator, everything under the sun you already know of Honor Among Thieves podcast. Today, got a fire guest for you guys, Mr. Jerry Ormond. What's up, brother?
How we doing, Nelson?
Good, man. Good. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. I saw you on Kevin's podcast, and I like the vibe. And I said, yeah, man, he definitely fits the brand, so I want to bring him in here.
Yeah, man, after you had contacted me, I always do my homework and
Yeah, of course.
watched a couple things that you did, and I like your vibe, too. I think you're coming from the right place, and I really like your message, so
Appreciate that,
it's
bro.
a pleasure to be here.
Definitely. Yeah, Kevin, Ian, Matt, we've become really good friends. So they got a great thing going on here, and I'm glad I could be a part of it. It's an honor. So anybody who's done the circuit, Ian and Kevin's show, it's always cool to reconnect with them, and I give my own spin on things. That's what's cool about this. Like, you can go on other people's shows, you can go on Ian's, you can go on Kevin's, but we all have different perspectives, different messages we want to give from your story. So it's almost like a totally different experience. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
I've definitely watched now YouTube, but watched these guys grow, and
yeah,
it's incredible what's going on right now, and I'm
It really is.
think that you're gonna grow too, and just great to see it, and I'm just excited to see what episodes you guys have to come.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yep.
Thank you. This cold is not doing it for me, bro.
Not the Florida life, right?
You're in, Miami.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Scarface on the t-shirt, What are you? Do you live in Connecticut?
Stafford.
Yeah. Okay.
So
How far is that?
So it's I think it's like 6. Well, I'm in Norwalk now. Like, I'm
Norwalk.
from Stafford, but I live in
Okay.
Norwalk now with my family now that I'm older. But Norwalk's like 16 miles. Stafford's right there, like
Not
a town
too
or two
far-
over,
not too far.
maybe 20 miles or so.
Okay.
But out of like the Connecticut like inner cities, you could say it's more comparable to New York. Kind of more like there's an upscale community, expensive
Right.
apartments,
Right.
and kind of they've built a bunch of new buildings and stuff. Kind of like really built the city up.
Right.
But there's also the slums and the other stuff that goes on. That's
You know what's wild about Connecticut?
Mhm.
Everybody thinks Connecticut and they think about rich white people.
Of course.
Yo, you guys have some rough areas.
They
yo.
probably think that too about me.
Right. But you guys have some rough areas,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was sort of aware of it because I have family that lives here in Connecticut. I'm staying with them, my aunt and uncle and my cousins.
What part?
They live in Monroe.
Okay.
Yeah. They used to live in Fairfield a long time ago.
By Bridgeport.
Right.
Yeah.
So when they've always told me like Bridgeport, New Haven, they've always told me about the bad areas, but I'm like, yo, it's Connecticut. What you got? No, bro, for real, it's rough.
I
It's
mean,
rough.
I don't no disrespect, but I think Fat Joe's told this story. You know what I mean? Like,
It's crazy.
yeah. He was surprised.
Yesterday I had on Lyle and Lonnie Jones. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. The Jones
I've
brothers.
seen stuff.
Yeah.
They're like twins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, brothers.
brothers? Okay.
Yeah. They're only like 2 years apart. So, but yeah, they ran the crack game over in Bridgeport. Like, they ran the projects and
I
shit.
gotta watch that then.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna drop the episode soon. It's fire.
Yeah.
It's the longest episode I've ever done. It's
Yeah.
really good. But then they're telling me, and I'm like, man, Connecticut got
yeah.
it. Yo.
Yeah,
That's
especially
crazy.
Bridgeport. Bridgeport is another world. Yeah.
So you're originally from Stafford?
yeah.
That's
So,
where you grew up?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So Stafford is another one of the lower income areas.
I mean, to be honest, it was I think worse than our day. Like, cause I'm 34 now, so
Okay.
so
I'm
like when I
32,
was-
so we're
okay, cool. Yeah, so when I was like probably mid like 15 to 25, it was pretty bad. Even when younger, like it was pretty wild too. But it's different, right? It's not like Chicago or Philadelphia where it's like shootings every day and
Right.
like there's a. I'll speak from my era because I don't really know what goes
What
on
it's
anymore.
like now.
Respectfully,
Yeah.
I don't really. It's a whole nother time now, as we'll probably get into. But in my day, it was very hands-on, kind of like what was necessary, right? So like you would see times, even like neighborhood stuff, and I'm not even involved. I'm younger, and I'm downtown at the movies, and you would see, groups brawling,
Right.
stuff like that. Then you might hear a week later somebody got shot. So I feel like it was kind of like a tit for tat kind of thing. Like,
Okay.
so it would go up notch for notch. The gunplay wasn't always like the first thing. It'd be a lot of violence though. Like Stafford's very known for, even in like the prison system, for fighting.
Yeah.
So even like the cities where it's more like gun violence, they know guys from Stanford are known to know how to fight usually. I mean, obviously there's exceptions.
Got it.
So it's just kind of like a thick-nosed town.
Overall, crime and as a whole, there has been a gradual progression towards gun violence overall. It's not even just one part of the country. And I think it has to do with the youth and them being more reckless
Yeah.
and wanting to prove themselves and all that kind of stuff. For whatever reason, I mean, everywhere. It's not just one place. They're more prone to like shooting somebody than getting in a fight, which is really stupid. But it's kind of like that's the gradual progression I've seen, even from when I was a kid, because we're more or less the same age. You got in a rumble, and it was that. But now it's not like like now if you're about that life and you're in the criminal world, if you're in the underworld, anybody can have a gun and get shot on any given day.
Yeah. And I mean, can I be honest? Let's be honest. And I listen to it too, but the music. The music is way different.
Yeah.
When we were younger, it was bars and they talk some stuff, but they you hear about something like a brawl at a concert or somebody maybe once in a while, right?
Yeah.
Something would happen, but it's like
and if you saw a rapper getting shot, it was like what? Now rappers get shot all the time.
Yeah, so I think
crazy.
that's a big part of it.
It is the culture.
Yeah, I'm thankful this music wasn't out back then. I feel like it would have.
Yeah,
like I'm just being realistic. It probably would have.
The influence on the
Yeah,
kids, 100%. Rap music is still a big influence on the kids, but it was still gangster rap, but it was different. I agree.
Yeah,
it was drive-bys and all that shit it wasn't really getting glorified. It was more like telling you about what it was like living in that area or living in that city.
Yeah.
Ice Cube, it was a good day. He was more like telling you like, yo, there was no drive-bys today. It was a good day.
Yeah.
It was more like, yo, that's a bad, and now it's like, no, we bury motherfuckers or shit like that. And it's like, yo, that's not cool, bro.
So disrespectful. And then, we could bring up all the examples, right? But you see like the disrespect level and then you see the result of it and it's not a game. And,
no.
I'm happy I have daughters. I mean, there's other things I'll have to worry about when they're older, but to have sons in this time would be in any sort of like environment like that, even half of that
I agree.
is not good. It's the common thing is to like fall under that and fall into that, regardless of where you're from. Even like the kids that aren't from the inner city, it's still glorified through the music, so they still want to be, involved. They're fake involved, whatever. But obviously, when it gets real, most people don't want to be involved. But
yeah, I think that's a part of it. Like they don't know what's up, and they think it's a game until it's too late, and they end up dead. It's a shame. It really is. So all right, so Stafford, growing up, a bit of a rough area. So did you grow up with both parents?
Yeah, both parents, only child, middle class. Dad was fireman.
Siblings?
No, only child.
Only child. Okay.
So dad was a fireman, mom was a social worker, which was solid income. So it wasn't like rough or anything. Lived in a better side of town. They were tight, but they were willing to live tight to have me in a better area.
Okay,
if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, kid could play. Irish household, so a little drinking going on. Things happen, but nothing that I could like blame my problems on. But definitely, saw some stuff, even through aunts, uncles, not just my parents. A lot of things that came with alcohol and that type of stuff, negative effects of that.
Is alcoholism a common thing in the Irish community?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, for example, I mean, we all know the great Conor McGregor, right? Like,
right.
I love him, I respect him, but where he's at now and the amount of money he has, you give me that kind of money, I don't know how I'd be able to be motivated and do what he used to do. So when people say like, who you want to see him fight, you think he's gonna come out? I'm like, I don't think so, man, because it's just like, I get it. Like I would probably do the same thing. I'd be on my Ferrari boat, Lamborghini boat, whatever he has.
Nah, he's Why would that guy ever be motivated to take a punch in the face? Like now, supposedly he's having that bare knuckle fight, but that's like,
is he?
Yeah, he's having some bare knuckle fight in April or something.
I mean, get him back, I guess.
You wouldn't be able to pay me enough money.
Yeah,
he's worth like almost $1 billion. It's crazy.
Whatever.
So yeah, I'm from Miami, so there's not a whole lot of Irish down there.
Yeah,
but obviously, I'm a fan of the culture. Obviously, growing up, I'm I'm a big fan of the Goodfellas and the Sopranos and all that, but I'm also a fan of the Irish stuff. Reading the Westies by T.J. English and all that, and Black Seed, Whitey Bulger, all that. So, it's an interesting culture for sure. I'm always, for whatever reason, like organized crime and a criminal world and all that has always fascinated me as a kid. It's Scarface and all that.
So
Yeah.
100%, man. I agree with you. And you heard me make, and I'll reference the guy because I'm a huge fan. The John Red guy, or Red. I forget the Irish guy that just came out and he was in Whitey Bulger's crew. The
Right.
Red. He, I said I wanted to be him when I was a kid, like literally. But I'm happy that he lived his life and I didn't have to live his life because that guy is, the
crazy.
real deal. But yeah. And to the way you said also, like Stafford has that culture. There's a I wouldn't.
It's like an Irish community.
There's a history, and this is like known history. So and I won't get too into it, but there is the presence of the Gambinos and stuff like that. And I think it's pretty much most of the guys are older and died now and stuff like that. But
Right.
it was Stafford has that in its community, and I think a lot of the Irish and Italian were together because it's like a smaller. Thing, but whatever. But I only, you read stuff in the paper. That's how I know. And we might have grew up with kids that dad's getting locked up in 7th grade and stuff like that. But of course, they're not telling us any information about their dad or anything. So this is all just kind of like what I've heard or what I've seen in
So
papers.
you had friends whose dads were like,
Yeah, and they were kind of mad when I brought it up last time. But last time I did a podcast. But the thing is, you don't know I had a better relationship with your father than you, so you don't really get to speak on that, unfortunately. But the guy passed away, so I understand. I left it alone, but
I mean, you don't have to mention names, It's it's just making conversation. So all right, so that must have been interesting growing up around that kind. So did you have that kind of like as a kid looking at these guys and like I want that kind of stuff, or were you not really aware of what was going on?
Well, we had different kinds of friends.
Okay.
So like, it was a different version of that, but like I think when we were younger, I definitely had one friend where we were like, yo, like this is what like we thought I don't know who we thought we were. I always make that joke, like like we already referenced the mob stuff. It was like a little fake mob, whatever. But there would be like I mean, I don't want to fast forward too much, but I guess it kind of came. Also, like the blue collar Irish household, my dad would always be like, don't take any crap. Like he wouldn't encourage crime or unnecessary violence. But, like, it was like if people mess with you, like, as they say now, right, belt to ass, like, it's like you got to, handle that. If I got in trouble, guy talked to me at school and, made fun of me or hit me or maybe like, oh, did you kick his ass? Okay, yeah, I'm suspended. All right, come home. Like, I wouldn't really be in trouble. It was understood. So that was always ingrained in me. And I think in middle school was when you kind of see, now I'm in a magnet school where there's no district. So I got kids, one of them I'm still friends to this day, but, he got an ankle bracelet on in my homeroom, and the kid got a mouth guard in his jacket.
In middle school?
Yeah. He got a mouth guard in his jacket because he knows it's gonna be static on the way home. He might have to throw it in and fight 10 dudes on the way home.
That's some real street shit.
That's what I'm saying. And another success story. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so it's like this is and it wasn't a lot of that, but it was a handful of people that were from. Which it's crazy because when you grow up, magnet school's every side of town, right? Now everybody goes back home, goes to high school. Later on, they're beefing, some of them. So that was sad to see, but that's, kind of how it goes. You hear that in every story. So we lost people young.
I still can't believe you had, in middle school, had dudes with an ankle bracelet in middle school. That's an honor among thieves first. A dude with an ankle bracelet in middle school. That's 100%. Crazy. I didn't even know they gave teenagers ankle bracelets, like ankle monitors.
They must have did something really bad, huh?
I would assume so. Real violent, real crazy. That's wild.
Wow.
Okay, so that was a common occurrence amongst your group, your circle? A lot of kids were getting in trouble?
I was more tight with my cousins because we all went to school together. So this is kind of like the Irish.
Okay.
like 4 or 5 of us and then 2 or 3 of us in another school. So, well, I guess it'd be like 6 of us total. I messed up the math there, but we were like just a friend group. So we kind of knew all of each other's friends, and we dipped into other friend groups. And that's kind of how it started, playing football, right? Now I'm getting tight, meeting other kids, other friends. So all sides of town. And that carried over to like high school ages and that type of stuff. And of course, once in a while there'd be like a scrap in middle school or, whatever, get, silly stuff that's not even worth bringing up. But so it's not like I like never was like getting chippy. It was definitely like a little scrappy, but nothing serious. No like gang affiliation or anything young.
Right, like no blatant breaking the law, no affiliations with criminals, none of that stuff.
Maybe like, throwing snowballs at cars, stupid like mischief.
Yeah, but that's like
nothing-
kid stuff. Yeah,
yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I always say like the social media and all the viral prank videos and stuff, we would have been rich. But, too little, too late, right? But rich, I won't even get into it. It's ridiculous stories, ridiculous.
That's funny.
But yeah, so
All right, so that's elementary, middle school, getting into high school. Is it kind of the same thing?
So at the same time, and I'll just tell the brief version of it. I was playing hockey since I was 7, so I was building up my hockey career, and I was actually pretty decent at it.
Ice hockey?
Yeah, I was a goalie. So I had played, basically, long story short, high level youth hockey, and by late high school, I actually got some financial aid, which is basically a scholarship because every team has an amount that they're allowed to give.
Right.
So significant help to go to this private school for 1 year.
Okay.
And then the story turns, but we'll get there. But early on, I actually went to so part of my youth hockey was in Darien because it was more competitive. Darien's a very wealthy town in Fairfield County. So I grew up playing there, so that's how I kind of knew people. I knew there was a place for me there if I went there in high school. Being an only child, my dad was doing flips on our house at the time, retired from the fire department. So that was kind of his new job. So he was getting ready to sell the house. And I said, could we live in Darien? So he was like, yeah, like, he could do it as another investment. So that was kind of the plan so I could play there.
Right.
So now we kind of take two worlds, right? Because I had my whole childhood there and friends there. Darien's not very accepting. So, like, I have a couple friends there, but I'm really just playing sports and going to school.
Right.
So, like, borderline double life. Not too bad, but sort of. So, that's kind of where things progress. And then you start to see kids, like, selling weed. And I'm like, oh, well, I could bring that over here.
Right.
In a wealthy town, you already know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then I got my, loyal cousins and family in Stafford. So I'm not really stepping on anybody's toes. I'm doing my own thing, getting money over here, over there. Nothing crazy. Like, we're kids. You got a couple $1,000s, you're doing all right, right? I'm not trying to, like, over embellish. But it would progress. And then you have friends that would, like, rob people and stuff like that. You set up drug deal. I want to take more clientele in Darien. All right, well, if we hit him, I'll take Stanford people, get him. They would kind of punk stuff, which I realized the robbing thing was never really my thing because there'd always be bad karma. Like, always, directly after.
100%.
Always.
100%. That is something, I always refused to do that as a kid. I'd see dudes who do that, rob people and that kind of stuff. I'm like, bro, karma is a bitch.
Yeah, every time.
And it always happens in the weirdest way. I never felt right doing that to anybody, regardless of you're in that game or not. I was just like, man, I dip a pinky in that pond and it's over. It's...
Yeah, it felt... First of all, it was never worth it. Like, what are we really getting out of it?
An ounce of weed, you know what I mean? Like, it's... No.
Then the charge for a robbery, right? Like, who... Like, what?
Yeah,
that's...
armed robbery, assault, and all that shit.
Even unarmed, I think, was still at least 2 to 3, 4.
Yeah,
maybe now it's probably even more, but...
It's not worth it.
Yeah, no, not at all. So I learned that lesson early. I kind of stuck to, like... Just, I find my lane and I just kind of go with it. So the weed... And not high level, like bagging it out, get, like...
And you're still a teenager at this point.
Yeah. Like, so I'm doing the hockey. I got the little weed thing on the side. Season, I would really calm down. I wouldn't go out a lot. Locked in, you know what I mean? Well, no pun intended, but like, yeah, so that would kind of be like, I would stay disciplined to the hockey, but I would just be quiet, get my money to the side, pop out at parties. But then, like, stuff, fights would jump off and stuff, and I would get in there.
Right.
So, like, that was where it kind of combined. I wasn't really in, like, the, like, hood streets like that. I had friends from the hood. I'll pull up, chill for a little bit, but I wasn't like in their beefs or involved in their problems. But they kind of always were around. So like if something happened with me, like so they would be beneficial sometimes as far as like physical altercations to have. Right. That's not why I had those friends there, but I'm just saying like it would happen to work out.
No real street kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but it was cool because I was never expected to like participate in anything that I wasn't ready to participate in. So I always appreciated that. But Stanford's that kind of place. It's very mixed. You go to parties every side of town.
Right.
We had a heavy Albanian community. So I grew up with a lot of them. One of my like older brother figures, like, because he lived across the street. He was like 4 years older. He was heavily involved with them. So that was like a whole nother kind of like.
That's interesting. So you have a lot of facets of like, you got some Albanians,
Haitian,
some Irish.
a lot of Haitian.
Haitian, okay.
Pretty good size.
Italians, you said are like
Italians.
That's
forever
cool.
Been here, yeah.
That's
it's
cool.
Irish, Polish, a lot of Polish.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, different Hispanic for years
Yeah,
now, but originally, right, is more like Italian, Irish. But everything, dude, a melting pot for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so you just doing your little side hustle. Hockey's looking up. You're doing pretty good with hockey. Around graduating high school, did you graduate from high school?
Yeah.
You did. Okay, you graduated from high school. Things are looking up.
I might actually have to. You mind if I
Yeah,
pause
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So most of the crazy stuff happened right before high school ended.
Right before high school.
So
Okay.
now
all
I'm
right.
at the So yeah, kind of like you said, back and forth, and like it's funny because back then, like like you get arrested for a dime bag back then. So like I'm thinking, I'm John Gotti moving all like low, like even the way I was doing it at school, low, like pre-orders only, like no, these kids got their backpack out in the bathroom, weighing the shit out. I'm like, they're going to fucking jail, like
Right.
you know what I mean? But so I always kind of had that low, like I don't need to make so much. I'd rather just find my consistent amount and stay low. And that was always kind of my thing. Like I don't want to be front and center. I don't want the police to know who I am. That was always my thing. So like, I think because of the sports too, right? Like you can't mix it. So there was so many reasons why I couldn't keep it loud. It had to be quiet. Parents, you don't want your parents to know either, right? So for a while it was low, but then.
What kind of money are you making? Not much? A couple $1,000 a month or something like that?
Probably like and this, mind you, I'm 16, 17, probably 5 in the shoebox, 1,000 and doing whatever I wanted.
Yeah, but that to a teenager, you're like set, you know?
That's what I'm saying. I didn't try to, upplay it at all. I mean, I think when I got older, which we'll get into, it was like a little more, but still nothing like, nothing crazy. I never, I just, like I said, found my lane, low, right?
Bro, I remember.
Don't forget that part.
I remember opening a bank account when I was 16, and I was like, because those things at that age, you don't have kids, and you're not an adult, so little things like that mean a lot, So having $5,000 in a shoebox, you're like, I'm on my way, Now you're in your 30s, you got kids and shit, and you're just like $5,000. That's like 2 months rent, that's nothing.
I think I knew like when I was consistently hustling to that, like eventually jail, like at a certain point jail was coming, which I'll get into. So like it was like, all right, like I at least have to have like some situation.
Yeah. Okay.
Set up. Like I wasn't coming home. I mean, it wasn't much, but a couple. You need to just so you hit the ground with something, not
so you're not flat on your ass.
But you're gonna be gone for a while too, right? So you want to live it up, right? Make up for lost time, right? All that bullshit.
All that shit.
Yeah.
So right before high school, so let's get into that. Tell me, you were gonna get to.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. So my whole point in saying all that is it was my. It would have been senior year with the private school thing. I was supposed to repeat,
right?
But when everything happened, they just pushed me through. But basically, I was home one weekend. The hockey didn't work out. There was a whole thing with that. It went left. Didn't work out. So
you got kicked off the team.
There was a like it was a political thing, but I feel like telling a story is gonna sound like an excuse. It was that combined with some other things. I just feel like it's too much to like get into. It's not. I don't really have a problem telling it. It's just more like basically like I was supposed to make the team and didn't, and like notable people that went to a high level know that. So it's like they're not here, so it doesn't really matter.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
So there was.
You don't make the team. That doesn't work out.
So I'm home one weekend, and my younger friends have this ongoing beef with this other group, not hood kids, more like middle class type of stuff.
What was the beef over?
Somebody robbed somebody or tried to rob somebody. Then he said he was gonna basically kill it was like, of course, the innocent kid that like tried to set him up. So he's like, I'm gonna kill him, and there was pictures of him online with an AR and stuff. So we took it semi-serious, and then we went to him after school because we figured, all right, he's not gonna have his gun in school, and we basically like.
You stepped him.
We details regardless. Like we basically jumped him. Like he was with his friends when we rolled up, and his friends ran, and it started out as a 1-on-1, but when he slammed my young friend who was smaller than him on his head and he was bleeding, we jumped in. The kid was younger than me too, but I didn't know how old he was, and he was bigger than me. So age wasn't really a concern. I just see my friend get bleeding from his head.
Were any of you over 18 at this point?
I had just turned 18.
Were you
that article was lovely. You know what I mean? Oh, hit a minor, right? Like it was.
You were the only one that was over 18.
30 days. Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It was actually my bros, like little brothers, that I also was equally as cool. But like really, I was like more like, how could I watch this happen and not jump in? Like that that just wasn't how we as a group got down. Like we always had each other's back. So it was a no-brainer.
So your friend gets his head split open.
Yeah, and then the other
you guys all jump in.
Yeah, so my one Cody gets him down to the ground, and then like it looked like they were wrestling over the waistband because obviously if somebody's on their back on the ground, they're probably covering up.
Right.
They were like this, and my Cody wasn't hitting them. They were like this. So I'm not gonna lie and say I thought he had a gun, but like I was like maybe he got a knife or something. So I just started like I was kicking him in the head, and I was, and I'm not proud of it. And you know, as an adult, you know I would never want somebody to do that to my kid, and regardless of if I felt like it was right at the time or an impulse or whatever, I want to be clear that I am not proud of what happened. But the kid was like knocked out, foaming out the mouth. So we basically get, you know, we run off, we get out of there. I'm kind of like trying to come up with an alibi because I'm like, I don't go to this school.
Right. So you need to.
The only people that know me were my people, right? You know, you think nobody's going to tell, right? Whatever. Delusional, right? So I get out of there. Somebody said my name. I kind of warned my dad, like, yeah, something, because things were happening, like close calls with the police and stuff, and my dad was kind of like realizing. So I'm like, yeah, just so you know, something happened. Yeah. They're saying it was me, but it wasn't. But like, he knows what that means. I'm like, but just let me know if they call you. Like, I'm changing. I'm going to a different location, out of town. I'm coming up with my alibi to my friend's house, saying to the mom that I was here since this time and all this, because I came from a haircut in Norwalk, went to Stafford, went back to Norwalk. Because I always was in Norwalk and Stafford. That's part of my network too. Like I had gang, like Norwalk was a big gang city. So like I had a lot of, literally on both sides too, and they know this, so I'm not ashamed to say it. Bloods and Crip friends. Like real violence. These dudes were killing each other. Like 08 to 12, killing each other. Wild. So I kind of always had those type of friends. And I'm just rehashing this one part because it's going to matter in the rest of the story. Yeah. The Albanian guys, we call that. Then Stafford's got its own little neighborhood kind of stuff. There might be gang, like larger entity gang members within each, but it's usually neighborhood based. So
like cliques.
Yeah, really neighborhood on neighborhood, or like cliques of neighborhoods versus other
like non-affiliated gangs.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So now I get in this trouble, right? I kind of have all these people I met and affiliations growing up. I guess I'll tell them like getting bags or whatever. So they tell us come down. I turn myself in. Oh, I don't know. That wasn't me. Da da da. You know that whole thing. They're slamming on the table. It was like $100,000 bond. I think 100. Assault first was the original. I don't know why, but I guess maybe they thought we had a weapon. So they bring me in interrogation, pressing, trying to, they know my parents because my parents work for the city.
Right, of course.
Pressing. I'm telling my parents I don't know what happened. Just because, like, what? Like, I signed up for this. I'm not going to. That just didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm going alibi. They're like, let's go around to the office and call the parent. I walk by the juvenile cells. I see my Cody's through the window. And my boy, who I like, me and him were very tight. He was younger, but he was like, we were super tight at the time. He was like, I didn't say shit. I could read his lips. So I'm like, bet. Going to the office. Because I'm like, oh, what if they told on me?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, now, like, I know everything's good. Like,
you got to stick to your story.
Not even like on my end, just in general. Like, all right, I don't got to worry about that either. Good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that doesn't check out. They bring me in the cell. And I mentioned my cousin was there. He's like my right-hand man. He'll come up later too. He punched somebody on the side and broke his face. So I'm walking in. He's coming out. They don't know the dude's face is broken. He goes to the hospital, finds out his face is broken. They bring him back in. So by the time I get booked in the cell, he's coming back in. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So I'm not saying anything to him. I know it's
right,
cameras. They're telling me he's in a coma. They don't know if I'm going to make it. He's going to make it. Trying to shake me up.
Scary shit.
So I'm just sitting there like, realistically,
of
like,
course.
Not scared, but just like shocked.
Of course. Doing your best to keep your fucking mouth shut, stay out of trouble.
But I'm like, this could be manslaughter now. I'm like...
Yeah, it could be. I mean, if he ends up dying, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, so that was just sitting there and not knowing. That was hard. That was hard. But
how long did they have you there?
It felt like forever. You know that.
No, of course.
It was probably. I mean, because my parents had a home equity loan, so because they wouldn't have just had that type of money. Like they literally took it out the loan. which of course I feel horrible about.
So you're formally charged, and they put up a $100,000 bond.
7,500, I think. I think 10%, but he looked out and did
So
7.5.
it was a $75,000 bond, and they put
No,
up
no, 100, but they let them do 7.5 instead of 10. I don't know if it was like
Interesting.
a favor. Maybe they.
Alright.
I don't remember why. Maybe back then
Okay.
was different.
All right.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So they took out a HELOC on the crib, $7,500, and you get out.
Yep. So I get out.
And you were there how long? A day?
Nah, it was probably like 5 hours, maybe 5 to 8 hours.
Damn, you bonded out quick. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
you were 18
I
and you
turned
didn't-
myself in, remember? So we had time to plan.
and you were 18 and you didn't have prior, so yeah, I get
it
it.
was in and out. So I went home, and like I'm used to partying, smoking at that time.
Mm.
I went home dead sober, went to sleep, woke up like it was like a bad dream. It was a wild feeling.
Mm.
But I mean, my older brother figured he had went to jail and all that. The guy I
Right.
mentioned before.
Right.
So like, I guess I was kind of low key just following his footsteps the whole way. So I wasn't surprised, but I was just like, damn, it's really like now I really got to do this now.
Yeah.
So go to court. Lawyers trying to, because the address, he's freaking trying to smoke us.
Mm.
Still getting a year in jail. So like, but
That's what you're facing a year?
it was 5 at first. They did the PSI, and I had all the hockey in school, so
So they brought it
that
down
helped.
to a year.
Yeah, and then my Cody's got 6 months because of their age. I got a
Okay.
year.
Yeah,
then
but
one of my
yeah, but
Cody's-
6 months in juvie, that's different.
No,
You're facing a year in state.
I'll get to that.
That's different.
It's Connecticut has a different,
A different. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
like a 21 under.
Right.
Yeah. So, but one of my Cody's had more charges pop up too. So that kind of, without getting into the details, simultaneously, like we're out on bond now. Our friend group, which is like, aside from like the Albanians and the hood kids, there's like probably 30 to like 50 white, like middle class kids that are bugging and going crazy too.
Mm.
So like everybody's catching cases. Like I'm laughing because at the time, like you go to these court dates, it's a sideshow. You go to like the court trips, it's like 10 of us. Like it's like, yo, why are we here? Like we all
That's
have good
crazy.
families and shit. Like this is ridiculous. Like now that I'm thinking about it, it's like a sideshow. It's a
Mm.
joke. But that's how it was. We were nuts. I don't know who we thought we were.
Mm.
I'll say it over and over. So now I get, I'm low. I'm not fighting. I'm trying to like really avoid.
Yeah, because if you get in trouble at this point, you're done.
Yeah. So I'm kind of doing the weird thing. I had a girl at the time, so I'm like keeping at her house, and so I'm good. I'm clean.
Yeah.
Just smart. Kind of just laying up with her, having people pull up, kind of like
Right.
a block driveway. It's like a perfect setup, honestly, at the time. Mom worked a lot, single mom. I mean, that was unfortunate, but for my little, plotting, degenerate self, it was
Right.
perfect. But yeah, so I ended up getting that year, and that day was crazy. Friends came over like 7 a.m. We had to have that 70 show circle.
How long from the day you bond out until the court date?
It was like a
sentence?
year.
So you were out on bond for a year.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't go to trial. You end up taking a
Yeah,
plea.
They gave me the offer. Well, it was 5, 18 months one was like the order that the offers came.
Mm.
But I think the lawyer was just dressing it up. I think he knew, but that's another story.
Right.
So it was a year.
So how soon into the year do you sign the plea and you're going away for a year? Like how soon into that year that you were out?
I must have signed, right? I don't remember that part. Like, what you mean, like when you're like,
Like when this is your plea, you signed it, you're going away for a year. Like when
don't you do it right before they take you in?
in my case, I self-surrendered. So when I knew I was going away, the judge, in my case, let me pick what date I wanted to which is rare.
Yeah.
But I had never been in trouble.
Yeah, I
It was
read
a
your
Fed
story.
case.
Mhm.
So in my case, I signed my plea. He dropped the hammer. And then I was like, it was October. And then he asked my lawyer, and I told my lawyer, look, it's October. Let me spend the holidays with my family. So I self-surrendered 3 months later after I signed my plea.
Got you.
So in your case, if you could, I mean,
I
if you
must have
don't,
signed something because I went in there. So I must have
Okay.
signed something.
so you were out on bond for a year. Do you have to get, like, how's it work? Do you get dropped off at where you served your time?
So it would be like
did they
at a
did they
certain
book you?
court date. So like
That's what I'm saying. Like, at your court date, you got booked?
yeah, they took me in the back right then and there.
Okay, that fucking sucks.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
everybody's
God.
there. And like it was
Oh,
good. It was
man.
bad and good because
That sucks.
they actually let me rock till like 2:00. So it was like late.
All right, so it wasn't like right.
You know
they
what was
gave
going
you a
on. We
minute.
had a little mini party that day. Like,
Okay,
we just went crazy.
Good.
So, like, then they're like,
Yeah.
recess. I'm like, I get to leave
That
again?
shit
We
when
out.
that shit when they drop their hammer on you and they take you,
Yeah.
bro, that's like, I mean, thank God I've never had to deal with that, but the stories I've heard is mortifying, bro. You know, you got your family behind you, they're taking away, it's like all dramatic and shit.
You gotta be head high, bro. You
Yeah.
can't show weakness. You gotta make them.
That day,
strong, you know?
I had mentally prepared because I had never been to jail. I didn't know how.
Scary.
So I had left.
Feds too.
I had prepped my mom. I was
Yeah.
like, look, this is where all my stuff is at. You know, I don't know. I might go to prison today. So here's what it is.
That's good that you did
So
that.
yeah. So I was like, and it took a minute, right? Like I was out on bond for a while, for like a year and change, like you. So I had mentally, like, even though I didn't know I was going to prison, I had time to, like, I wasn't an idiot. I was like, bro, even if I end up going to prison, let me prepare like I am going to prison. That way everything is straight on the outside.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway, all right. So the day you got booked, let's go through that.
So the wake up, hang out with the friends, the girl, whatever.
Are you going into it knowing you're gonna serve time?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So we set it up like everybody was there early. They don't get up early for nothing. They were
Yeah.
all there early.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was great. We walk in, and our other friends, like I said, everybody was going crazy. They just did like a home invasion like that. Whatever, they were getting rain the same day. So just imagine there was like 7 of us at court the same day.
that's
All our
fucking wild.
friends, guys, girls, parents, everybody was there. It was insane.
Right.
So they took me in later, like I was saying, like 2:00. But the part that was a little nerve-wracking, like you said before, they bring me in the adult cell. Like I'm going to county, which the MYI which is where I ended up, Manson Youth Institution, was actually had a wilder reputation. But the county thing was a little weird to me because I'm like, I don't want to be in a cell with somebody my dad's age. Like this is just creepy. Like, but it's also dorms, which I also wasn't. I was like, I don't know if I like that either because I'm sleeping. I don't know if I like that either. So I
Right.
was kind of like, it is what it is. Either way, adults should be a little calmer. But if I'm in MY, I'm with like mad people. So like that I know. So I'm like, whatever. I didn't care. So they took me, like they put me in there. I'm sitting there. There's like a freaking drug addict on the.
He's like
thing.
tweaking.
Yeah, I'm looking over like, yo, what the fuck? Like, and then they got some big dude from Custer Street, which is I knew people from the neighborhood. So I'm just chopping up with him. But I'm like, good thing I know some people.
Yeah.
You just, if he wanted to be on bullshit, there would have been nothing I could do. But he was a nice guy. But the size, I was like, it's not his first time. You could tell. So, and as I'm walking through, by the way, before I got to that cell, I see my guys that are already been in custody for a month in this outfits and everything. And there's mad little and stuff like, yo, don't worry, Jerry, yo, you good? Yo, this shit's nothing. Da, 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 da. So I'm like, all right, like they're saying it's good. So I'm thinking I'm going with the adults, and then they bring me out by myself on the chain, like to bring us on the van or whatever. Next thing I see my boy Lou, who actually he does podcasts up here.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, Ian knows him, but he comes hobbling up, and I hadn't seen him in like 18 months. I'm like, oh shit. So now I know where he's at. I know he was up there. So I'm like, all right, I know where I'm going now. He clipped me up. They bring all the other guys out. It's like, so I'm going to jail with 8 people that like it was like at least 6 of us, 6 or 7. I think 6 on one side and 1 on the other. So and like it was them between me and anybody else. So like, how could you be any more comfortable on a ride to
Going to
prison?
jail with your boys.
Yeah, exactly. So like but then you get there, right? They get their sandwiches and go back to their cells.
Yeah. It's different, of course.
And now you gotta freaking squat and cough and lift your ball sack. So like that's when it got kind of real. And then me and my cousin were alone. We're the only ones getting processed.
Yeah, that shit, that first day, I feel you. That first day I went in the feds and he was like, yo, spread your cheeks. I was like, yo, what the fuck is this bullshit?
This shit real? They really do this?
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, they had these dudes from Hartford. They were like, it was like 10 of them, I'm pretty sure. They just jumped somebody, got locked up for it. They were hyped up, chirping, talking crazy. Me and my cousin are just shoulder to shoulder, like. So then I guess the guards peeped it, so they like moved us over to our own.
Right.
And like, because they're like, oh, they're gonna kill us. So then they start the Harry Potter, because I was skinnier at the time, saying I looked like Harry Potter. So the next thing, like, yeah, all right. You know what I mean? Because I'm separate now. Now I'm like, what? You don't want to like look soft either. But like, it was so funny. Like, it was like, thank God they moved us. So then they bring us down. I mean, I'm joking. Obviously, we would have. Yeah. I'm trying to be an adult about this. We, of course, would have fought for our lives. Me and my cousin are tough too to deal with, but that's 10 guys and they just already beat somebody up today. I'm sure they wouldn't mind beating somebody else up today. Yeah. So you got to be humble, right? But so then they bring us down, the fresh meat. So MYI is like a compound. So it's a main building. Then there's cottages. So they're bringing us outside. You're in the line. Fresh meat chants out the window, all that stuff. I'm like, where am I? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, all the whistling and all that shit.
Yeah. I go on myself. But we were partying so hard that day. I was lit up. So, like, I said what up to my celly. He was sleeping. He woke up, dabbed me up. We talked for like 10 minutes. I was like, yo, bro, I'm tired. I just want to, because I don't even want to deal with this shit today. I'm feeling good right now. Let me just go to sleep feeling good. Deal with this shit in the morning. That door closed behind me. I'm like, this is crazy. So, wake up. Then it's a intake unit. So, dudes are shifting in and out. So he left like the next day. Then I had like this guy from New Haven. He was kind of wild. So like that led to some stuff because like there was some really tall Caucasian dude from Waterbury with like tats, and he like was like super like, I think he might have been like blood or something, I don't know, whatever. He was like talking crazy. So my boy's like, yo, he said that I said something to him, but I didn't. So then the dude was like saying, oh, I'm gonna do this to you, to me, like back. So I'm looking at him like, yo, bro, you mind telling him I didn't say that, bro? I just got here, man. I'm not trying to fight already. So the dude was like, oh, yeah? Yeah, that's what you're going to do to him? He didn't say it. I said that. What's up? So, like, we're laughing, like, because the dude's like, fuck this dude. Like, he's mad little from New Haven. This dude from the Trey. It's a blood neighborhood. So he was wild. He didn't give a fuck. So he starts pressing up on the white dude. The white dude backs down. Then the white dude's getting into it with somebody else. He's just talking mad shit. And, like, somebody eventually is going to beat him up, right? So this leads to the first fight that I saw, which was within the first week or two. He starts telling this dude who looked like Keenan from Keenan and Kel that he was gonna smack he was gonna smack the shit out of him. He looked
like Keenan from Keenan and Kel.
He was gonna smack the shit out of him when he
a black kid?
Yeah, from Bridgeport.
Okay.
And from P.T. Barnum, if you ever heard of it.
P.T. Barnum is Lonnie and Larry.
That's where they're from?
Lyle and Lonnie that I interviewed yesterday.
Too.
They ran that shit. See? They were the crack kings of P.T. Barnum.
I believe it. Yeah, I gotta watch that, man.
Yeah.
So then he had his other boy in there with him. So we could hear them to the vents like, yo, we about to work them. Like, so we're thinking we gotta wait till breakfast. They switch him over to rec last second. So he goes to come out. The Keenan dude runs up on the door like, what's up? What's up? So the dude's like 6'5". He gets so scared, he's like a slinky. He closes the door. So then Keenan goes up to the CO like, yo, you forgot to pop his door. Let him out. So the CO's like, what happened? You didn't want to come out? And he was like, I was fixing my bed. Like, he's shook. Like, he knows it's about to happen to him. So he comes on the back table. There's like tables on the rec room. We're not supposed to pass here.
Yeah.
He's sitting on the last table, and he's sitting on top of it. There's a Hispanic dude from PT and a black dude from PT. They're boys. The Hispanic dude's on the phone, but he's not really on the phone. He's just pretending.
He's pretending to be on the phone.
He's like looking out. He's lurking. So then the black dude goes up to him like, yo, what happened, white boy? You said you're gonna smack me? And so the white dude just shook like. So then he just does the look away and stalls on him. The white dude just hits the table flat. Dude on the phone drops the phone, comes running up. They spin him on the top of the table. So then one's got him by the leg. They're snuffing him in his like body. The other one got him by his head. And then they drag him off the table on the ground, and they start beating him up on the ground. And the dude had his pants down to his ankles, and his face was all battered up, and he looked crazy. So I'm like, all right, you're definitely not supposed to talk shit like that. Like, definitely if it comes to me, I'm not gonna be a bitch, but like, I'm not about to be like popping shit at nobody because you never know. These kids were young too, and he was like 19. They were 15. They did him in.
They were the kid they fucked
YOs.
up. They were two 15-year-old kids.
YOs.
Holy shit!
He might have caught a charge if he hit them out, honestly, but he wasn't hitting them anyway.
Right? Wait, but they put you guys in the same facility
just because it was an intake. Usually you get separated. Intake it can mix.
Okay.
Like you're not really supposed to, but it can mix. They usually get them out of there quick.
Okay.
Be there for like a day or two.
But that was like a fluke, and they kept him there longer. Okay.
Yeah, fluke for that one dude. So that was kind of the first thing, and then we'd be eating. You see like another wing, somebody's coming out, teeth knocked out. Like, so I'm like, all right, like
that's wild.
It's not stabbing and stuff.
Looking like a hockey player.
Yeah, no, like, but I'm like, this is the first 2 weeks because this is intake.
Right.
And I've seen 2 fights, at least 2, maybe more, but at least the 2. And I was like, all right, this is like,
this is where I'm at.
You got to be ready, and of course, just being in the cell all day, and it was 23-1, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, so that was tough mentally, and
so the fights broke out.
No one was get out the cage. Like animals, bro, but including myself, it was wild.
That's crazy.
So I think it was important to establish a routine. Working out,
of course,
especially when you don't have anything in the beginning, because you got to get your commissary right.
The routine is everything, of course.
Yep. Yeah. So then they moved me up the hill. I come back from a visit. Parents coming like twice a week. I'm blessed to have a great family coming twice a week, bro. Probably waiting 4 hours every time to see me. Like, feel bad I didn't put them through that, but I'm coming back. All my friends that I came in with were gone, and they're like, "Yeah, you're moving." So it's eerie because I'm by myself now, and I'm going to the other side of the compound. So I'm just walking like by myself, and like I'm walking up the hill they call it, and I'm walking up to I Cottage, and I'm like, all right, like whatever I'm going, like I'm just like, where the hell is I Cottage? Like just looking around trying to figure it out. I get in there and like that was some shit out of a movie. Like intake was nothing. This is like dudes that are established in their unit, like.
Right.
You know, on the bullshit, you know, doing their wheeling and dealing, whatever. Like everything is full motion. So, and before I say anything, like I'm friends with all backgrounds, like very, you know, Hispanic, Black, et cetera, Albanian, whatever. So when I say that there was 22 Black dudes in a 24-person wing that I went into, I'm not saying that with a bad context. I'm just saying it
it is what it is. Yeah, you know. All right, guys, taking a quick break from the podcast to talk to you about Gus Villa Jewelry. Yo, let's be real here for a second. If you're rocking plain jewelry in Miami, of all places, you are doing it 100% wrong, my boy. Step your game up with Gus Villa Jewelry, the plug for real Cuban link gold and silver chains. And, of course, the cleanest Rolexes in all of Miami. This isn't factory made or watered down or any of that stuff. This is high-quality, custom handmade stuff that shines from here to the moon. It turns heads, starts conversations, and makes you look fresh. Gus has something that'll level up your whole vibe. And because you're locked in here with us at Honor Among Thieves podcast, you're getting a hookup. Use the promo code Montana at checkout. Get 5% off your entire order. That's right, 5% off. Go check them out at GusVillaJewelry.com or pull up on them in the Diamond District down here in downtown Miami. GusVillaJewelry.com. Again, that's GusVillaJewelry.com. And tell them your boy Montana sent you. Gus Villa Jewelry. Now back to the podcast.
I would understand why they would assume I may view the situation a certain way, but I was actually more comfortable than they thought.
In prison it's different.
Yeah, so different. Like I was lucky that they put me in a cell with a Jamaican dude from Hartford, and he kind of had a couple of his boys in there. One of his boys actually, like, had a glass eye and half a thumb blown off. So, like, because somebody stood over him with a shotty and
he blocked it with his
thumb in his eye, I guess.
Damn.
Not trying to make a joke of it, but yeah, so, like, this is the type of stuff they were going through.
Jamaican Scarface over here. That's
wild.
This
is the type of stuff they were going through up there in Hartford. It was, like, real war shit. My cellie had robbed somebody, and then when the guy chased him, he shot him below the waist. He was a nice guy. He's like, I want to do it to you.
He's
Boom.
smart.
Leave me alone.
He's smart.
No, he really was.
No
smooth criminal.
Attempted murder charge. You avoided it because you shot him below the waist.
He got like 10 for both, for the robbery and the assault. He was wild,
but he didn't get attempted murder. You know,
He was wild, but he was great because, like, I think when you put me in a room, real recognizes real. Like, I'm not trying to be anything. I'm not. I'm being 100% with you. I'm not trying to be a fraud, nothing. So, you know, let's wrestle a little bit, work out, slap box. He saw, all right, like, he got a little something going on. Like he not like a punk or anything. So he started fucking with me. And then, like, at a certain point, it was like, yo, if they mess with you, like, I'll
jump in there.
Or at least, like, you know, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, because he knew, low-key, I was like, yo, I don't want to go to the box, bro, because that shit is crucial. Like, I was like, I'll lock up in the cell, fight, whoever. I was like, I'm not, because now I'm getting my commie. My time's starting to go. We're getting, like, the TVs and stuff.
Right.
I actually didn't get my TV yet, but I was still waiting for it. But, like, CD player was starting to get stuff. And I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to, like, then you got to rely on you to pack my shit after. We cool, but I don't know if we that cool.
Right,
you might snatch a CD or two. I'm like, yo, I don't know, you know? So it's like that type of stuff. But, you know, commie day, you see dudes at the window like, oh, yeah. Like, looking at, I got 2-3 bags out there. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, when you got caught again, man, like, damn, like, please don't go. Nah, but overall, it wasn't too bad up there. Once I got lucky. I got put with the right people. Good. I also had my boy, shout out my boy Randy from Stafford, too. He was an older dude that was just randomly placed in there. And then my cousin was in the other wing. I think there was another dude from Stanford in the other wing too. So there was a couple of us in there. Like, we weren't too far. But Randy was cool with me. And then we had, like, the other 3-4 guys. So, like, it was a nice little safety net, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I was on medication in jail, though. Because
what they put you on?
Well, before. Because for court, I've never been through anything like this before, and I can't believe this happened, and I can't believe I'm going to prison, right? That's how you got it, right?
Yeah.
PSI, right? So I was on Klonopin. I wasn't really taking them always. I don't even know. It could have been almost like, it was as needed type of thing.
Right.
So, but in there, I was taking it. Just like, what else am I doing? I'm taking one in the morning, one at night. I go to med call. So they're like, yo, you're at a disadvantage on the compound. like, we're going to move you to the medication unit. So I heard that shit was crazy. So I'm like, oh, no, like, it's like shit on the walls. Like, what's going on over here? Like, I don't know.
All the crazy people.
So it turned out it wasn't that bad. I was in a workers wing, and I ended up getting a job over there. And those guys were pretty normal. You know, guys that have, like blood pressure meds or, like anxiety, like different, you know, stuff like that. Like, nothing like too crazy.
Yeah, not like schizophrenic cycle.
Yeah, so over there it was wild. But I was in C wing first, which was kind of wild. But then I later went to A wing, got set up. But C wing was like a lot of running in cells, young guys. I had two young guys from Stafford there, so they were the ones running the cells. So I was fine. But like, again, lucky, right? Like, I definitely, because I'm like, certain situations, I'm like, damn, what would happen if they really did that to me?
Right.
Am I gonna just throw it all? I mean, you have to, right? You got to throw it all away. So I'm like, some situations I'd be thankful that didn't happen to me, but you know, just a lot of like people just testing you, young guys, 2 to 15-year-olds. Well, I'm like, my hands are tied. Like, I'm like, what do I?
You can't do anything.
I'm like, this is not, So we see, like, there was not a lot, but a couple like R words. So that was the first time I was around anything like that. Peas. So the thing was though, they were there for so long that it's like, nobody's about to beat this dude up every single day. So stuff that happened over the years, they will mess with him, bully him, like, no respect. But like, people are set up. You know, it was kind of, if you had your groove, you didn't want to mess that up. But one day, my celly Ace, he was like this goon, like we would wrestle. He would throw me on the top bunk, you know, for fun. Don't get the wrong idea now, nothing crazy. But he was a beast, bro. Like, so he went over there. This kid was like 300 pounds, like, did something to his nephew, weirdo. So he go in there, yo, let's wrestle, huh? Pretending like he playing with him, picks him up, boom, dumps him. My celly, well, later, obviously it's both of them. The other dude, this dude Wilbert, ran in, grabbed his Game Boy off the bed, ran out. He didn't see it. They do stuff like that, like steal it. It's like $300 item. It's a lot in there. So like, stuff like that. And then I remember Wilbur went to the box, but I think Wilbur might have low-key been telling, because Wilbur had me in the cell by myself the whole weekend and came right back. So I'm like, I'd never seen that before. But I'm like, hey, I'm not telling. He likes me, so I'm like, whatever, we good. But I don't know. That was weird too, because he was low-key like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to the captain. I'm like, you going where? I'm like, all right,
wish
bro.
you wouldn't have told me that shit.
Yeah, but my thing was this though, like, I just minded my business.
Of course.
Because, no, but he was kind of like,
it's rule number one.
He was kind of soft too, so like, he probably needed that relationship with him, honestly. So, and he had been there a while, so whatever. But that was weird to see, that type of stuff. You see people kind of like try to hang themselves. That, you know, I didn't see it, but you would hear people's reaction that could see it, and then you'd see them get taken out. So that was rough.
I actually walked in on a dead person in prison. Yeah, it was fucked up. This old man named Dan. I'm there talking to the head orderly. He's my best friend, one of my best friends now. We're friends on the outside. So my morning routine, I mean, he was a bit of a bum. He'd wake up like at 10:30, 11 o'clock. Yeah. I'd be up every day at 5:45. So right after I finished work, I was an orderly. So I did time in a federal complex. They had a camp, a low, a medium, and 2 pens. So I was an orderly at one of the pens. We'd finish working in like 45 minutes to an hour. We'd clean up the lobby and shit. They'd take us back to the camp. And usually around the time I got back to the camp, he was waking up. So that was my routine every morning. I'd walk over to him. We'd say, what's up? Just kind of like wake him up. Me and my boy are talking. And then Dave, Dan's celly, walks over and he's like, gee, I think Dan's dead. And both of us look, you know, when you look, you know, when you I'll tell you now, when you know, when you and your boy look at each other and you're like, bro, is he for real? Like, and G's, my boy G, his reaction was, go get a guard, go run, go get somebody. And he stopped me from, he's like, no, don't. You don't want to, you don't want to be the person to.
Facts. Nowhere near
let the cellmate do that shit.
Yeah.
So he grabs me. And he's like, bro, is he really dead? And I said, stay here, I'll go. And I looked inside the cell, and just from his position on his bed, you could tell there was no life in that body. So I look, and I'm like, bro, I don't even have to walk in. And I told him, yeah, he's dead, bro. Like, for real. Bro, and then one of our other boys, He's like, no, wait. Let me see if he's dead for real. He walks in
There's
there.
always those guys.
And he fucking shakes the
my
body. And I'm like,
God.
bro, what the fuck are you doing? I said, dead body. Get the fuck out of there. They're about to run in here.
Jail has the sickest humor, dude. Because the dude is dead, but you know you guys are like, yo, what's wrong with you, bro?
And it sucks to laugh about it, but it
Nah,
was
but
funny.
it's-
It was
yeah.
funny. So it turns out what happened was, and then obviously the guards run in. They're like, yo, everybody get the fuck out. We all get out. Turns out the old man had been complaining to the medical unit for weeks. Yo, I got a pain in my chest. I got a pain in my chest. We don't know why he died, but it was probably like a heart attack or something. He probably had a heart attack in his sleep and he died. Bro, and you know what's even more fucked up is he was out on probation and he got violated. He wasn't even supposed to be in prison. He was below the legal limit of alcohol and they still violated him because he had a little bit of alcohol in his drug and on his breath. He wasn't even supposed to be in prison, bro. Fucked up. Super fucked up. And then these motherfuckers were taking the body out of the unit and they dropped the fucking body in the middle of the courtyard. And we're just like, look at these fucking idiots, bro. Oh my God. Bro. So yeah, so I've seen a dead person in prison. That shit is, you get so many like thoughts go through your head like, fuck, man, that could have been me, you know? Like I could get sick and die in here. Being sick in prison is the worst, bro. The worst. Like I was sick as a dog in prison. I had the stomach flu and I was laying in bed and I was like, yo, this is bad.
Hell.
Yeah, because I'm not getting medicine. I'm not getting, I was like, fuck. So I just drank as much water as I could, try to stay away from the junk food. Thank God I got better in a day, but yeah, being sick in prison is no joke. And he was like a 73-year-old man, bro. What the fuck is a 73-year-old man doing? You know what I mean? Like, it's fucked up. So just thank God you never saw anybody dead in there because that shit would have left a fucking mark on you, I'm telling you.
Hold on. So, rest in peace, 40 from Norwalk. I know his brother actually. He had passed away while we were there. He was when I went to the medication unit, it was next to the intake unit.
Okay.
40 was in intake, and I guess he had gangrene from like he got shot.
An infection?
He got shot and was supposed to take the meds.
And he didn't.
And he was resisting the meds.
Antibiotics and all that?
You know, in jail, like, dudes, I ain't going to med call. Like I'm going. I don't know about you. But, yeah, so he was resistant. I guess that shit killed him. And he didn't wake up one day. And I know his cellie, too, because his cellie came to the...
Kind of same thing, like, checked
health.
on him. Oh, yeah.
They came to our unit after because the dude's freaking seeing him in his dreams that night. So, I did see him come out and get put on the ambulance.
That's terrible.
And then they lock us in there for a freaking week. You know, you get locked down after that. So it's like, you can't help but think like, I don't want to die in here. Like, you know, it's not funny, but that's really like how you feel.
Trust me. I know how you feel, bro.
Yes, I was like, I do kind of know it's...
Because even though I didn't do that much time, it woke you up. Like, bro, you can die in here.
Absolutely.
And nobody will give a fuck. These guards don't give a fuck about you. This system doesn't give a fuck about you.
Thanks.
And then we saw them drop the body. I was like, damn, dog, I could die. And then these fucking idiots don't even have the decency to treat my body with some fucking respect, bro.
I work in healthcare, so I'm just like, you gotta get it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And don't even get me started on like, I don't even want to bring this up, but fuck it, I'm just gonna say it. I haven't looked into it, but God knows what they told the family. God knows what's on the fucking ambulance report. God knows, bro.
COVID.
All kinds of bullshit. Just to, oh yeah, he died in the ambulance. I bet if I look that up, I bet if I look up the ambulance or whatever I could find about the medical reports, oh yeah, he died in the ambulance.
See?
That's just how it be. So anyway, getting back to this. So the dude is this all happening at the same time? Like the dude dies of gangrene and all that? Kind of like...
It's kind of, I'm being a little sporadic with the main events.
Right.
But another crazy thing was they had what was called SRG, which was like, so you know how like other states, the gang thing and the race, and it's very like much, I'm sure the feds, right? It's very
and the
much
feds
so.
is very much, like we interact with each other, but you know.
I was going to say, because you're Cuban, so like, how did that work? Just, I'm not going to
I'll tell you,
tell me.
it's, bro, you would expect because I did time in Florida that the prison system would be flooded with Cubans.
Huh.
But, bro, at my camp, there was no Cubans. There was, out of the 500 prisoners, there was like 12 Cubans.
So who would you rock with?
Well, with me, it was a little different. I kind of found my little group.
You were cool with everybody?
Yeah, we were all like mostly Spanish kids.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like Cubans it was like one Venezuelan kid.
Yeah.
He was the only Venezuelan kid in the whole compound.
Cool.
A Puerto Rican dude, a Colombian kid. So we kind of, did our thing. We
Yeah,
were all
I get
more
it.
or less the same age.
I get it.
And we were all, so we kind of did our thing. But the Cubans, I can't complain about the Cubans because when I walked in there, I had nothing. And like one Cuban gave me some shoes, another Cuban gave me I'm a writer.
What's up?
One Cuban found out I was a writer. You're like, yo, boom. So I will say that the Cubans are way more unified on the inside than we are on the
cool.
outside. Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah.
but I was surprised, and what ended up happening, I found this out later. You only get to go to a federal camp if you're an American citizen. If you're a resident, if you got a green card, you can only go as low as the low.
Okay.
You can't go any lower.
Okay.
So, but I'm glad I didn't go to the low. That's a whole nother. That's some other shit. So yeah, that's basically what happened with me. There wasn't a whole lot of us. I ended up becoming good friends with an old man, a Cuban that came in named Red. We used to call him Red. So that I didn't really stick to like my race, like even though even the TV rooms, there was a black TV room, Spanish TV room, white TV room. But yeah, it was kind of like that. I would say, but I had black friends. I had white friends.
Yeah.
I didn't beef with anybody, like
that's cool. That's how it should be. I feel like.
Yeah.
So Connecticut kind of the same. At least my experience and I mean, you go to the gym like once in a while, like they let us all go to the gym. You would definitely see like 20 Spanish dudes doing the pull-ups off to the side, like not messing.
Oh yeah. You saw that, the cars working out together and shit. Yeah.
But it wasn't no like animosity. Everybody intertwined.
Nah.
A lot of hoods have Spanish and black people, so it's everybody's used to dealing with everybody. I feel like, and as far as being white, I mean, I probably hung out with mostly black people. I mean, when I got to where I was in the medication unit, there was like 2 or 3 white dudes. Well, one of my Albanian boys from the real world that were in there. So like, 2 actually, but one was in the other wing. So like, I kind of had those white guys, but other than that, I was all friends with black and Spanish people. So like, it wasn't like I was a straight white people.
Right.
And there was no white people that wanted to kill me or hurt me because I was friends with black people. So it's a little different. And to get to my point from before, there's what's called SRG, which is, I forget what it stands for, but it's basically, if you don't really want to like talk too much about the gang stuff,
right?
Because then you got to go to like basically SEG all the time. Like you get your commie and stuff, but you're in SEG. Like, so it's like you keep that quiet, even if your blood, your crip, whatever. Everybody knows who's who from the city. So like, you just shut up, you just do your thing. You don't bang, you don't be throwing up signs, you don't do that. Stay low.
That's how it is at the camp. No one talks about it because the second the COs or anybody hear about it, you're out of there. They ship you.
Yeah.
So, but
exactly,
like, it's obvious.
Yeah. So my point in saying the SRG thing was that they popped the door probably for a meal or for a shower, and the guard got stabbed. So I wasn't hearing a lot of stabbing stuff, but then I heard that happen. We all got locked down, and like people at home were like reading articles like, "Yo, there's officers getting stabbed up there." Like, damn. But like we saw nothing like that. Like we had a decent rapport with our, it'd be a little arguments, take somebody to the box, whatever. But overall, like there was general respect. There wasn't too much. Nobody's like snitching or anything, but like you need them to open the door and to get what you need and toilet paper, and like you have to have like, it's just a gentlemanly respect, not like a kissing ass or anything.
Yeah,
that's what I did at least, and I felt like it worked fine for me, and nobody was mad at me for it. So because once you get the job, you moving and grooving, you rolling up food every night, whatever you need, the bags, and you're finessing cleaning products and things you need, right? You charging people to get it for them, and the hustle. So like all that stuff. So. Just wheeling and dealing like on a very small level, like just like what it really helping people. Probably not even charging half the time. That's like my friends or whatever, but they'll do something for me later.
Yeah, of course.
You get doors pop, like because of the job. I could like, they trusted me, so like it got to like a pretty sweet point. But the most kind of personal conflict that I ran into was hold on one second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. You got to drink some water for these podcasts,
Should have brought another one. So personal conflict was like, basically one day they popped me out to go to the main building, probably because when you're on meds you got to go check in or whatever. So they popped me out. I every time, I told you I got like a little OCD, so every time I'm getting my tans on, I'm pissing before I leave because I know that like there's nowhere to go up there. So I'm like, all right, like I'm handling my business, so I go do that. As I'm like finishing up, somebody comes from behind me, chokes me. I had just got commie. I found out later he was trying to just like bully me for some commie, basically.
Yeah.
So the wall's like close, like right here. I already was like pulling my pants up, so I just like went back into the wall, and then I kind of like turned and we just grabbed up. And long story short, he like tripped me on the bed. I kind of like spin around with him, got the best of him, kind of like disrespectfully, kind of like when he was leaving out the cell, I kicked him in his ass. It was like disrespectful. So like, his friend that like they all had jobs. Everybody that saw it and was like fighting had jobs. So that's why our cells were open so freely. So his boyfriend, his hood, had a job too.
Mm.
So he was like, yo, I didn't like how you did that shit. So it was like, yo, we cool, but like I was cool to do. I'm like, yo, I don't want to fight you, bro. Like we straight. Like I was really like, yo, I don't want to get caught up. I'm like, let me just chill. But he was like, well, because he knew. I don't know if he knew, but he was like, all right, well, we could lock up or I could take you to the box. Oh, shit, I guess we locking up then because I'm gonna at least try to get away with it.
Right.
So we were gonna do that cell cleanup. It was every Saturday morning, just like the safest time. So I'm like, all right, so now it's like a schedule. Like you got a fucking boxing match coming up. See him every day. You know, you told me that, right? Like, yeah, bro, I know. Like, relax, man. Calm down. Just a couple days away. Chill out. It was like really weird. It's like almost like the catch and fade like concept, but not that serious. Like not mandatory, as they say. But it was kind of like that. Like now we got to run that. All right, like bet. And I didn't go like honestly. I used to box and stuff, so like I knew it was one of those things. I think he thought I was like some soft white dude because he didn't see the first fight.
Right.
But like, I'm not like not that he was anybody tough at all, but it was easy work, and I knew it. The dude been rotting in there for like 3-4 years. You don't work out. Like I just came off almost damn near D1 hockey like workout program. I've been low key like a little bit of boxing on the side for years, so like. It was just easy, but I didn't like do a min. I actually like stopped at one point and was like, yo, bro, like, all right, like, enough. And I turned around and he rabbit punched me a few times. And I was like, all right, bro, you good? And they were laughing at him like, yo, you punched like a bitch, da, da, da. So I was like, I swear, I know it sounds like a movie. It sounds like silly, but I swear to God, on my dead father's grave and my kid's life, that's really what happened. He punched me in the back of my head. I laughed. They laughed. I was like, you good, bro? You got your shit off? All right, bet. Cool. Because somebody had said that in the past when he got his ass whooped really badly in the cell, he told. So I was like, let me just like
so
not.
You were hesitant to even like kick his ass.
I'm not mad at him. I don't want to hurt him. But like, I know it sounds like I'm like freaking Bruce Lee or something, but like I said, he wasn't anybody special. He just thought he was picking on a soft person. Yeah. But he didn't know. Kids fried, bro. It was like ex-dope head, like fried. So like, yeah. So like, but again, it sounds like a movie. Same thing I put it on before. His celly comes up to me. I'm like, yo, that was some real shit you did. I seen what you did. Like a movie. I seen what you did right there. I swear to God. It sounds so stupid. Like, I've read comments about this story in the past. Like, hey, you freaking liar. You making this shit up.
You a real one.
I swear to God. and it sounds like a freaking fairy tale thing, but I really was straight after that. That was the only time. There's the times you got to mouth your way. Pause. That did not sound right. There's times you got to like speak.
Talk your way out of way. Yeah, talk your way out of shit. Yeah, of course.
Without you know you
gotta finesse your way out of it. Yeah.
Like I'm not soft, but like you know how it is.
I get it.
But so that was like the only two like direct physical altercations. After that, I got lucky, man. It was you kind of established after that, like he knows all. You know how it is. Like if a guy's in one place for a long time, they know like he got a reputation, he'll hold his own.
Right.
So let's go pick on this guy over here and that guy. But I guess before we move on from prison, I'll just get into the like people I knew in there and how that dynamic kind of worked. So like I'd have like guys coming in, I'd see them in intake. I'd see them walking in and out for school and stuff because I already graduated at this point. And so you come to like my window, I'll call them over, slide them commie sheets a week early. He always tell people about that story too. Like, yo, Jerry, help me down. I'm like, yo, I just sent you a sheet, bro. I got like 50 of them. I've worked. Like I can get them whatever. Right. But he was so like thankful for that. But that type of stuff. Then I had my Albanian guys in the cottage with me. I told him like, yo, go to the lady, tell him like, going crazy, like, and they're like, yeah, bet. So we all kind of like teamed up over there. So then the dude I fought, the second guy, ended up having a problem with Albanians. Then the other one was there. The one went home, the one that had the problem with him. The other one heard the whole fight because he was in cellar 2 down. He hear us screeching and saw he walked out and stuff. So like it was funny because he's calling home tonight. Like, yo, Jerry beat that dude up that you had that problem with. Like making me sound like a superhero and shit. Like I'm up there wilding. Dude, I just want to get the shit out of the way so I could just chill and finish my time. At that point, I knew I needed to change my life before I went in, but I also knew I had to. That was
actually going to be my next question. At some point during your bid, did you realize, all right, man, I don't want to go through this shit anymore. I'm going to try to be different when I get out. Like, did that cross your mind?
Yeah. Before I went, I knew I had to get it together, but at the same time, you got to get through. You got to pay the piper, you know?
I've always said you can't judge a man for his behavior in prison because that's survival of the fittest in a lot of cases. And if you don't do certain things, you're not going to survive. Exactly. You know what I mean? So I've never judged men based on their character or their actions in prison because that's like a special circumstance. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's what really counts is all right after you do your bid and you're out on the street. What do you get what I'm saying? So
Yeah. No,
But-
for sure. So like, just kind of and same thing. Even preaching to those younger guys, like I said, my Cody had caught that charge because he was part of one of the home invasions too, and then he had a gun charge on top of that. So like he was stressing, and I was like, bro, just don't say nothing, just stay down, like you'll be good. And the home invasion ended up getting played out to like a burglary, and
There's a big
the
drop.
gun charge got dropped because it was left somewhere, but it wasn't. He never had possession of it, so the lawyer spanked it, and he came home probably like 9 months after me. So it was just like trying to encourage him, like, yo, don't like go all into this lifestyle, like come back, like get home, do your shit,
of course.
like.
Of course.
And I'm still like that to this day. I got kids that are still running in the streets, like family members of my friends that are younger and things like that. And I'm still trying to be a positive influence and just be
good.
there and just like if you need someone positive to talk to, influential. Like
100%.
one of them was going to jail for the first time, and I'm like, this is what's gonna be like. This is how you gotta handle it, and you'll see. And I told him I was like, you're gonna look around and see how goofy these dudes are, and how you're gonna feel like a loser. Straight up, I told him you're gonna feel like a loser for being there with these people, and he was like, because you got to talk to the kids a certain way. They won't respond to everything.
Right.
So you got to be almost completely real.
So you end up doing the full year?
Yeah, full year. No come home early, nothing. Came home. So now like.
So what's it like getting out? Walk me through that. Like.
So of course it's like a dream. I'm in a car like this because it's like 25 miles an hour. It feels like 70 because you've been on your feet for 365 days.
Right.
So coming home. My mom worked in a nursing home. She got me a job, but it was like part-time, like $250 a week. Like, something, right? Starting point. Then it's kind of the glory part of it because there is a lot of people that's like a part of our like culture and our friend group and like people coming and going. And so now the girls and you know how that stuff works. So you kind of like the popularity side of it, which is corny to say now, but it was like that. It really was. At parties, everybody's always inviting you places. And it was always like that, but it was even more lit. It was just like we're all home, like shit was just like popping, making up for lost time. Back to that silly concept, right? But really, what I want to get into as far as like, well, one thing was right, like running into the guy. We were out one night, and I run into the guy that.
Wow.
Yeah.
The guy.
A bunch of times.
The guy you kicked in the head. Holy shit.
And I'm by myself with my wife. Well, there was guys there because we're at a bar, so like there's bound to be 2 or 3 of us there, even if we don't call each other and plan to go. It's just how like it was. So we were always around each other somehow. But I'm with my wife now, the girl at the time at the bar. One of his friends and me make.
Was this way after you got out of prison?
Nah, like I was still on probation and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so he one of his friends we make eye contact. I'll try to cut to the chase. Calls them, they pull up. I don't know who I thought I was. I think I was, because I'm kind of sick now, right? Because I've been in jail for a year, so I'm still a little institutionalized. And I'm like, because my girl had a couple friends there, my wife. So I'm like, just chill with your friends. I was like, I'll be right back.
Oh, because you did a second bid.
No. I mean, like what I'm saying is, I don't know what I said, but what I'm saying now is like, I told my wife, just chill. I'm gonna go outside and deal with it.
Right.
But it's not like I went to my cousin and my other boy, like, yo, come on, like, these dudes are here. I just go out there by myself. What I meant by me being sick is I'm like, well, if I go by myself, that means I'm getting jumped and I can really go really knock, snuff. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, I feel like I still had a little chip with them, even though, like, I should have been like, all right, I just made a mistake and need to just be an adult and move on. It's still like, all right, you guys snitched on me and now you're still acting tough after? Like, I'm like, so it just felt like, all right, let's go. So I squared up on all 3 of them. By God's grace, a random friend that like wasn't like an everyday friend walks by me with his girl, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me, bro. Oh, what's good? Oh, like literally in between this fight, I swear to God, like sometimes the luck of the Irish, I don't know what it is, but he did a bid too, so he wasn't like a punk, but he's not really part of my everyday crew. He's like, "What's good?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm chilling, bro." I was like, "Besides these dudes trying to jump me," he turns around, puts his hand, and says like, "No, we're not doing that." He's kind of big, so they kind of fall back at the same time. I swear to God, a movie, bro. This is why I tell these damn stories. My cousin and my other boy come hopping over the fence. They run up. These dudes are scurrying off. And I was like, and I had originally said before they tried to jump me, I was like, you guys not gonna do shit. So then after they've scurried, I'm like, I told you. It's like that ignorant mentality. Like I still want to get one up on you. But I was thankful that nothing happened and I got through that situation because I mean, who knows? Because dude was in the back, the other 2 were up front, so and he had his hands right here. He probably wouldn't have stabbed my ass. I would have wanted to stab me too, to be honest, after what I did.
Right.
So I'm lucky that it didn't get.
Very lucky. It could have ended it a million different ways.
Not to glorify it, it's just a ridiculous story that happened. But I'm not proud of any of it. But that was kind of still, I'm still a little like I'm being good, but I'm still not. F that, you know, like I don't, you know, heat of the moment, alcohol, right? Irish, it could get you there. But so that was kind of like my main confrontation. You know, maybe like a couple scuffles with like friends or something, but nothing really like. I was kind of like staying out the streets, like, but I was going to like wild hotel parties though with like these wild dudes that my boys became friends with, and from the hood. So now I got all these like connections just off the strength, like, because I gotta put any work in the streets. I just came home from jail,
right?
So like it's like I don't even gotta, and like they heard good things about me, so it's not like I gotta like prove myself. But that's now I have this network of dudes from the village in Stafford. They were wild, got real close with them. Then I had friends like Caucasian friends that ran with them that were like gun busting, and one of them I'll get to it at the end of the story, but down in Florida, same thing, getting into stuff, and then he got shot down there. Like, yeah, you want to be tough, go be tough in Florida, but that's another story for later. But so I had this like network now, but I'm low, I'm chilling, I'm getting a little bit of money. Now there's other things are going like up a notch, right? Like now it's like more intense drugs around, not just weed and shit. Now it's like, you know, a lot of like the rapper drugs, the Xanax, the lean, the oxys,
all that shit.
You know, the Molly's starting to be a thing, right? Like, so like, you know, getting a couple dollars off the Molly.
Right.
I end up working at the nursing home running into a crazy oxy plug where I was getting like $400 a month, making like 18 to 20 off every pill. So I'm pretty sure, I feel like it was like 6 to 8K a month or something like that. But of course, you know, I'm young, I'm making up for lost time. So it's not all getting saved. There was no way.
Of course.
But I wasn't mature enough to be touching that kind of money. I was still an 18-year-old kid that never really learned. Now I'm 21, 20, doing that. You know, it kind of just happened. And again, like not something I'm proud of, but all the friends were doing it at the time. So it wasn't like I was getting people hooked. It was like people that already needed it and were going to get it. And I knew what I was getting was real, so I wasn't going to kill nobody unless they just did a bunch of them. But obviously we see what we see nowadays with fentanyl and fake drugs. It's a different time.
It's a great time to quit drugs, bro.
Can't play like that, yeah, for sure. But that was kind of what was going on. So it's like I'm together, I'm doing better. I'm not, but I'm really not though. I'm kind of like, I'm just like I'm barely stay like I'm leaving. I'll stop by the Trap, for example, at the time, one of the little hood spots. I go to work at 4. I'm in the dining room serving these old people, and I see the porch on freaking news just got shot up, and I just left. And this is again, you know, bring my dad and kids' life into it. I can. It's true story, all true. So like, you know,
that's nuts.
Close calls, a lot of close calls. Times where like
you were tempting fate. You were in the wrong places at the wrong time, and kind of like close calls. I get it. Okay.
Times where like they were, because the thing with my boys in the village, they went to a whole nother hood, and because one of the aunts lived there, and they started selling crack on their block, and it's like 6, 7 dudes. You ever heard of like Chief Keef 300? They used to call themselves V100. So they were just like 7 to like 12 dudes that were just wild, like some of the main characters that we're definitely not gonna get into, but they got busy, as they say. And I remember one day, like the enemy was one or two of the dudes was walking by clutching, and my boy who had passed away, my Dominican boy actually, but he was from the V. He came out on the sidewalk and they just like as soon as you, and I'm there for that. I'm in the back like, yo, I'm getting ready to get the hell out of here as soon as I can. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not with that. Because then what? I'm going to have to pick something up one day and start doing that. And then I'm going to go down for 10, 20 years. So which I had Caucasian wealthy friends that, well, the one that did get into it on that level, which I also get into. So now I'm not really in the mix, but I'm around it. And he's my best friend, the Caucasian dude I keep mentioning. So now I get into him. He's trapping his ass off. Weed, pills, everything, going crazy. Fire ass weed, we selling it, we smoking it, going absolutely crazy, making good money, more money than I was ever making off weed in the past. So now I got that and that kind of same time. Well, by that point, the pill thing was kind of drying up. Like, I forget what happened, but I guess the old man just wasn't getting him anymore or whatever. So like,
how long after leaving prison is
the
all
pill
this
thing?
Yeah, all that. How long?
So the pill selling thing was probably like a 3-4 year thing, maybe. So give or take, like that ballpark. And then the weed thing was up till a few years ago. But at that time, because he died, my buddy Jay, he died. That was like a different game when he was around. It because when you got your best friend's the man, like
Yeah.
you're gonna be in position no matter what. So like that was a crazy feeling, and it was hard to turn down when it's right next to you.
Right.
But still low. The police know them, and they're getting hemped up every time they see him. I'm low. They don't know me. I'm low. So that was kind of my thing. But to get to the point, we lose 3 friends in 1 year. My boy that was on clutching, he had gotten shot in his neck, survived that, but he was Dominican, so he was out with his like older like barber type homies, like 35, 40-year-old like older dudes.
You would think getting shot in the neck will calm you down.
Well, he was chilling. He was working. He was, you know how it is. You can't always decide when you want to calm down if something comes back to bite you. But he went out with them one night and he took something and he OD'd. And he wasn't even like a druggie. He just, he'll get down. But he's not like you know what I mean, right? Like an occasional go out. He's not somebody that would do that. He'll drink a gallon with you right now. But just random bad luck, died that one time. Sometimes people don't know what they're doing. It's even worse, you know.
That's why I don't do any drugs anymore.
Exactly.
Bro, because that can happen to anybody.
So he died, lost him. We lost. Next thing, Jay gets wrapped up in some stuff. Again, gun violence, shootings. Like, Jay was probably, more than a handful of situations that were that level of situations.
Right.
And I'm not going to get any more into it, but the road wasn't looking good for him and them, honestly. And let's just say Jay might have got caught with the wrong firearm that was used for something else. And whether he did it or not,
he got the
too much. He was a real smart kid from a wealthy family. He didn't have to be in any of it, but he was in it all the way. And he thought he could use the dead guy. You know that whole, do we telling the dead guy to get out of trouble? That whole argument. He tried to use that route, but it got a little sticky and he couldn't take back what was said. This is my understanding. He didn't tell me this personally. It's kind of what I got from his girl. So next thing we heard that he had called the police because he got the strap case, he bounced. He was down in Jacksonville because his parents had a crib down there. And he basically called the police and said, there's armed robbers in my house. Like, come help me. And then when they came, he shot at the police. And it's in the article where it says, tell my dad I love him. And he comes out and shoots a shot or two at the police. And they obviously killed him. So
he just wanted to die. It was more like a suicide thing.
But I think it was because he knew what he said was too much. And the only way that could be taken back was that. That's my understanding. I had kind of stayed away from him after I had my kid. Because he died it was like not long after, within a year or so after my kid was born. So I had to separate myself at that point. But I was loving from a distance, but...
Did having kids start really make you think about getting out of the life and staying away from those kind of people?
So my first daughter, yeah, I had to. Only thing I was dabbling with was the weed because it was profitable and it was very low risk,
Right.
The laws had changed, and if you move a certain way, like there's really no reason you should be in trouble.
Right.
I can say that now because I'm not involved anymore, but I would never have jinxed it and said that at the time. But there's truth to that. Like you basically got to get to where it's going, and then if you have under a certain amount on you, you're good. They're just gonna say you possess it. That's it.
Right.
Give you your ticket, you go. So once I learned that loop, I'm just kind of stay under that margin, get it to where it gotta go, and then work off of that, and that's it. But obviously having kids, I'm not keeping it at the crib. I'm, you know what I mean, being smart about it. But that was pretty much it. And then, so I lost those 3 friends. Then my other friend's younger brother got killed. I won't tell the whole story; it's detailed. But he got shot in the streets, died. So now that's 3 friends in 1 year. To top it off, I come home at the end of the year in November. I found my pops dead on the ground. So, there's a whole detail to the story. But long story short, my mom comes home with like, the TV's off. He always leaves the TV on for the dogs. Like something ain't right. My mom's like, I didn't check on him this morning. Go upstairs, check on him. He had some health problems with breathing and heart stents and different stuff that was going on where we kind of knew he smoked cigarettes. So he kind of knew it was not going in a good direction. And I go upstairs and he had he had a pacemaker too. I think it had shocked him out the bed where he had fell. Like he was sleeping though. I could tell he was sleeping. So I was like, at least he died in his sleep. But I found him and it was tough. it was tough, but I would rather go find him than my mom. And like I said, I've been working at healthcare, so like probably better me than her. And she eventually got the confidence to go up there and just see him for a second, but I didn't want to be like, walk in the room all freaked out. And I sat with him for a second and, had a couple words and just kind of just in shock. And 911's like, oh, feel him. I'm feeling him. He's ice cold. I'm like, oh, damn. So just so much death around. And like, there was a lot of other stuff that happened too. And it's like, we could be here for freaking 4 hours and I'll tell every single story. But just enough close calls and enough stuff where I'm like, I'm too close. And then people are like starting to tell and like on higher levels. And you're seeing people go down on some spooky shit. I don't want to be nowhere around these people. This stuff, like, I'm good. Like, I really just, then I had my second child and I had been kind of calmed down. And I like my job. I like my where I live and figured out how to get a house. And it's just, you realize like that stuff is not real life. Obviously there's some scenarios people have no way out and they have to do it. But I do have an option and I don't need to be around it. But, I like my story though, because I think people just assume you're from here, you couldn't be into that, or you're from here, you have to be in that, right? Like there is places where it's blurred and where it can kind of combine. And I wasn't trying to be like a super tough guy or anything. Overall, I just wanted to profit financially and handle my business as far as any altercations. And that was kind of my main thing the whole time. But when you got a crew of people that all get along and kind of, run together, everybody's got their role and their levels of what they do.
Right.
So, and, it helps because then you have that certain situation. Well, I don't have to deal with this. Yo, he said this. Oh, goes and checks him. Now it's not a problem anymore. Where nobody has to get hurt because you're not going to play with him. So it's like those things came in handy, but I'm also not like a button pusher like Superman, like, oh, I can get somebody knocked out.
Right.
Like, things like that, but not like that level. Like, and at the point where I had that level of respect and whatever, I'm like, this shit means nothing to the real world. So it's like, once I like got what I thought I wanted, I'm like, this isn't helping me pay my bills or, stay up with my kids and sleep 3 hours a night.
100%.
Like, so that's pretty much the gist of everything.
All that pride and all that street cred, all that shit, it's worthless.
Yeah.
It literally is worthless. It's worth absolutely nothing outside of that circle. It's only in that circle, that realm where it's worth something,
If somebody put their hands on my wife or kids, then it's
that's
go
different.
time.
No, but that's different.
Man. That's man.
That it's a man's job to protect his family. That's different. But like
that's it though.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
I'm good.
So Jerry, it's been great having you. You have a hell of a story. I usually wrap up asking the same couple questions. So, what's next for you in your life? What's going on?
So right now, I'm just trying to plan for the future, set the kids up. I have everything I want. I'm very lucky. I got a great wife. She's amazing.
God bless you.
2 beautiful girls. Just trying to be the best dad I can, be present as much as possible. I got to work a little overtime. My job's not the most glamorous, but I'd rather be a little tight on cash and, planting seeds for the future and, having fun setting the kids up and just, I'm okay with grinding. I'm still young. So just kind of building what we have, build up equity, try to maybe work towards rental home someday, that type of thing. Whatever else we could do to set the kids up. I've wanted to do business stuff and things like that, like my own business. But it's hard, man. I don't think I'm built for it. So I think maybe a little real estate, play or that type of thing is more my speed. So I'm learning about that stuff now with my house and learning all new stuff. And that's kind of just what it is. Just raise my kids right. It's a crucial learning point right now. Like, so just being involved and making sure she's learning both of them at the speed they need to and just do the dad thing, be a great dad.
In your case, I'll ask an extra question because I think it's very pertinent. What would you tell, like, adolescent kids, kind of like, teenagers that are, getting into trouble, running around with the wrong crowd? Like, what would you tell them?
I think just get out there. I think a lot of kids are on the games and music and YouTube and get out there. We all play sports. Go play sports. Go interact. Go see what's out there.
Find what you're passionate about in life.
Even the most dangerous dudes played football, did this, did that. Like in my day, like these kids have no drive, man. I just want them to have drive. There's going to be street violence. There's going to be stuff. It's going to happen. And I think the people from those areas are doing a good job, especially at my age, of trying to, push peace, as they say all the time now and all that. They say California's like crime is way down. So there's things that are happening, an order that is happening that is definitely having an influence, but it's never going to stop. But I just think like on a simpler level, just like find out what you like to do. Cause like otherwise you're going to be in debt or in jail. And it sounds so cliche, but like if that's what you want, then that's what's going to happen to you.
There's a whole world of possibilities out here. There's plenty of things that you potentially would love doing, that would set your soul on fire, make you a happy guy, make you a happy man. Yeah, I agree completely. It's what I've done with podcasting. I mean, I'm in my happy place right now. This makes me so happy. My soul is at peace when I'm doing a podcast. That's how I know this is what I'm meant to do. And I say the same thing for young kids. Like young kids that are getting into trouble, it's never too late. You're super young. You got your whole future ahead of you. Find what you love in life, because the streets don't love nobody. That's for damn sure. So, all right, next question. How do you want to be remembered?
I think I will be remembered by those that love me. Solid, reliable, trustworthy, stand on business, family man, great husband. I think I said loyal already. Great father. To my kids, I want to be a superhero. To my wife, I want to be a superhero. I mean, that's really, I don't really care about what anybody else thinks. I'm just here for me and mine, and just making sure that we're good. And if anybody else wants to be a part of that, that's great. And if not, that's fine. But just positivity and growth.
I think you could have a big impact in the community, Jerry. I think you should get out there and talk to kids that have been through similar experiences, because you have a powerful story. You've come out the other side, a good father and a good man. So I think that's something, if you don't have to by any means, but if you consider it, I think you can make a big impact, especially amongst young kids that have no leadership nowadays. That unfortunately, a lot of them don't have father figures. A lot of them don't have male role models. So having a male role model like yourself, I think, would be very positive for adolescent kids.
For sure. Definitely something I've dipped my
hand in. Would you be open
to
talking to kids in Miami? Like if I had a gig, would you be open to coming down?
We'll talk for sure.
I'd love
I'm
to
scared
talk
of flying. That's why I say it like that.
Oh, you're scared of flying?
Terrified.
Well, I think
that sounds amazing.
I think it would be cool, because it's one thing for me to talk to him, but you were an actual kid that was on the street and you did get in trouble and you made it out. So you have a powerful story, man, really. And impacting the youth, I think that's how we change the future.
For sure.
Kids are the future. So if you're able to guide them and teach them the right things and tell them and inspire them through your own story, I think it can have a big impact. So
I appreciate that, bro. Yeah. I definitely agree with you for sure.
Definitely, bro. So, last two questions. Do you believe in redemption?
Absolutely. I'm still getting there. I'm not there yet. I'm hungry. Keep pushing. This is a long way to go, but I'm on my way.
That's typically my last question. Do you believe you redeem yourself?
I don't think the work's ever done. You can always get better and push further. So, the story's not over yet, so I can't tell you.
I like that. That's one of the best. That's the best response I've ever gotten. I love that. Jerry, this has been amazing. Like, your story's really cool. Like I said, consider you can make a big impact. You really can.
I'm going to maybe talk to some guys at home, too, that have been up here before, too.
Consider it.
We can maybe at least do sound locally at the very least.
Yeah, and locally even more, because they'll relate to you, right?
Yeah,
so,
and he's got a lot of hand in the community, so
man.
I'm sure he'll let me join
love that.
on, so.
I would love that for you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, of course. So
how keep grinding, man. Proud of you, man.
I appreciate that, man.
It's only a matter of time. It's going to blow up.
Thank you, man.
For sure.
I appreciate that. So how can people connect with you?
Universal Arts Fitness on Instagram. That's it. I'm simple. One word, Universal Arts Fitness.
Fire. Alrighty, guys. That was another episode of Honor Among Thieves podcast. Your host, Nelson Rodriguez. Special guest, Jerry Ormond. Push it to the limit. The world is yours. If you're not chasing a dream, life is meaningless, guys. Say goodnight to the bad guy. Catch you on the next one. That was a fire-ass episode, bro.
So say goodnight to the bad guy.
You looking at the bad guy. This the last time that you ever see a bad guy like me. You don't have the guts to be who you wanna be.